Before you eat all of that Halloween candy, I need you to listen up. Are you a sweet or spicy person? I need to know this. I'm actually half Mexican and I grew up around Mexican culture when I lived in Colorado. And so I am aware that there are a lot of people that love spice. I am not one of those people. I am a sugar person. I love sugar. It's so good. And we are actually entering into the sugar season with Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, all of the above, and my birthday is in this time frame. So I am constantly bombarded with sugar, and you might be too. Now, what does sugar and Halloween candy have to do with your mental health? Probably more than you think. With the sun going down, to different spiritual influences, to people maintaining mental self-control, it is a tough time. And there's a big portion that has to do with the sugar intake. So today we're going to touch on how to go into the season of fun and festivity and lots of sugar. So today we're going to touch base on all of the different elements that make up this time of year and how we can engage it holistically while both using wisdom and grace. Before we begin though, my name is Mariah. I'm a certified Christian mental health coach, and I'm here to help you grow in emotional and spiritual maturity through biblically based holistic practices. If you haven't gotten my free guide yet, it's going to be in the description. This free guide helps you grow in emotional health by walking you through different prayers that will be a good way for you to grow in self-reflection. So grab that, and then also follow me over on Instagram where we have conversations like this and more. At the time of this video, when it's going to be released, we have officially passed the spooky season and we have entered straight into the holidays. It's going to be a wild ride for a lot of people. And I love where I live during this time because I live in New England, and fall is a beautiful time. If you have not visited fall in New England, don't come because I don't want you to make my traffic even more difficult. But if you do come, you're not going to regret it. So that's all I'm telling you. And I love it. People get decorative. They have fun. We get apple picking, apple cider, apple donuts. It's a great time. But there is this sense of gloom that comes over when we're entering into the fall and then holiday season, because the days get shorter, the nights get colder, and there is also this spiritual element that we have to discuss when we're talking about our mental and emotional health. The thing is, the spiritual world is real. We live in a postmodern society where science and state are the religion. Where if the government tells me what to do, I'm going to believe them. If science tells me what to do, I'm going to believe them. And it blinds us to the fact that there's actually a spiritual realm happening. And it blinds a lot of Christians because a lot of Christians, they believe these deep spiritual things, but they don't actually implement it into their lives. And then people who are not Christians are looking at these unexplainable realities and are like, how do I fit this into my perspective? Because this makes no sense. Because you've got these ghost hunters, you've got tarot cards, you've got astrology, you've got all of these different things that are happening, these conversations that are going on that directly impact your emotional health. And if you believe in the Bible, then you have to believe that there's a very real and powerful spiritual entity. There are spiritual realities, spiritual laws that are happening right now that we are subjected to. If you explain it away through science and through logic and all of those things, then you're not going to actually be engaged with the very real things that are happening. There are things that are explained through science, there are things that are explained through logic, but there are some things that cannot be fit into that box, and that is where the spiritual world comes in. If you go into non-Western countries, it's very real that the spookiness is not just fun and games, but it's some serious, powerful stuff. If we ignore that influence, we're going to be in for a ride. I'm not here to be legalistic and tell you that, oh, well, you can't engage and have fun and get a little thrill every once in a while, but I'm here to just let you know that maybe you shouldn't be caught off guard if you're having difficulty sleeping, if you're having more anxiety than normal because you just watched a horror film, or because you are in environments that support and encourage and foster seeking other spiritual entities other than Jesus Christ, especially this time of year when it's a lot more heavily influenced. I live in New England, And New England is very, very famous for a lot of spiritual spookiness. I live in Massachusetts. We are known for the Salem witch trials, and it is a big attraction for a lot of people. And that type of stuff does directly impact your emotional health, whether or not you want to admit it. I'm also not telling you to panic and find Satan under every blanket. That's not what I'm saying either, because there is a demonic influence, but there's also donuts. We love sugar during this time of year. We love being able to eat and enjoy and have these fun things, have the apple cider donuts, have the Halloween candy, have the pumpkin pie, have these different fun, sugary filled things. But what happens, we either overemphasize the spiritual reality or we overemphasize the physical. And what I'm telling you is both matter. The therapist I love following, she said this. She said, we load up on sugar and processed foods, feel the crash, and then call it spiritual warfare when we are the ones who are self-sabotaging. Spiritual warfare is real. Spiritual entities are very real. And you should be very mindful about what you're putting in front of yourself, what you are listening to, what you are engaging in, the type of conversations that you're having. That is very, very real. You also should be very mindful of how much sugar you're eating. And I say this as someone who loves sugar. I love it. It makes me happy. Give me a bowl of ice cream, I will not turn it down. I love ice cream. I love sugar. But our physical habits impact our spiritual life. The amount of sleep we get, the kinds of foods that we eat, how much screen we are absorbing, that all impacts your emotional and spiritual well-being. And as a whole, in church culture specifically, we are not that good at creating physical habits that are actually life-giving. We have our church potlucks, we give sugar snacks to a bunch of kids. I mean, I work with teenagers and I love them, but they have the worst diets. Oh my gosh. And then they wonder why they're so anxious because they're eating like a bunch of Airheads and popcorn and all these little like sugary treats. They have these energy drinks that they do not need. They have plenty of energy. And then wonder why they're feeling like jittery and all over the place and feeling like they're out of control. Because we don't create an environment where we're being mindful about what we're putting into our bodies and honoring the fact that God made our bodies in a certain way. And as a church culture, we have created an unhealthy relationship between food and community. At least I know I have. When I was in middle school, I remember for the first time ever hearing one of the Bible teachers talk about his own healthy relationship with food and how he had a hard time not wanting to go for the extra donut, not wanting to go for and eat and gorge himself in a bunch of sugary sweets. And that was the first time I ever saw my own struggle being put out there as this is a real thing that we need to deal with because it directly affects us. It affects our spiritual life. It affects our physical and emotional well-being. Food was a source of comfort for him like it is for many people. But it was the very first time that I understood that our relationship with food and our spiritual health go hand in hand. And over the years, I really struggled to connect the spiritual and the physical together. I really thought that a lot of the emotional things that I was experiencing were part of spiritual warfare. But really, it was because I hadn't gone to the bathroom in like 4 days, or I had like 3 donuts in a row and I felt like I was going crazy, or I stayed up till after midnight and then I woke up cranky and started snapping at people, and then I would like berate myself and say, oh my gosh, Mariah, you're such a terrible Christian. How can you just be so cranky and mean all the time? What is wrong with you? And I never connected the dots to realize, oh, my physical habits are actually what are causing me to react that way to other people, to react that way towards myself. And there is a spiritual component to all this. Yes, there are spiritual entities. Yes, the devil might be attacking you, maybe like 20% of the time. But I think we very much underestimate our own ability to self-sabotage. We go to food for comfort, screens for peace, and avoid our bed in a diluted effort to maintain control. And I know for myself, my love of sugar has undermined my own happiness. I grew up in around circles where people who were health conscious were criticized or made fun of. And honestly, the food kind of sucked. It did. They were seen as like woo-woo and fringe to me because of how they were. But then I started to realize that I have to really evaluate my health choices. And especially in 2020 when I ended up having appendicitis, That was a big part of my journey of realizing that I need to evaluate my health food choices. No, healthy food doesn't have to taste crappy. Some people just don't know how to cook. And know that I can take ownership for my emotional health by being very mindful of how my body is designed, because sugar gives you energy, it increases your mood, and then it crashes because it's meant to be for short term. It's not meant to be a long term high all the time. It's meant to help come back down. And if you don't stabilize your sugar, you're going to go into these depressive spirals that are hard to get out of. And then you eat sugar again, and then you depress down again, and then you eat sugar again, and then you depress down again, because that's how your body's designed. And instead, you're taking that and saying, oh, the devil's attacking me. Maybe the devil's attacking you. And maybe you aren't making good food choices and it's affecting your mental and emotional health. So what do? Because we live in a country that is heavily processed with a bunch of sugar right outside our door. We can go and order and just have so much sugar that we don't need. Well, it's important to understand that we have a gut-mind connection. God designed us for our mind and our gut to flow together, so we're not experiencing these highs and lows consistently. And your gut is a complex microbiome that is responsible for producing happy hormones in your body. If you start focusing on your gut health, you might actually start noticing an improvement in your mental and emotional mood. And you'll start to also discern between, is this actually a devil or is this my own choice? I could go really deep into different things that you can do, but I just want to narrow down 3 practical ways that you can work on emotional stability by focusing on your gut health. The first one is using pre and probiotics. This is good bacteria that helps balance your gut, and it's really just making better food choices. You eating more fermented foods like Greek yogurt, kimchi, or pickles, but focusing on that fermentation and letting that be something that you eat more to help balance those blood sugar spikes. The second thing you can do is fast. Free way that you can help get yourself out of these cycles, and that is by fasting, physically fasting. If you're a man, you have no problem. You can fast whenever you want. If you're a woman, I highly recommend fasting like a girl, because there are certain times where you should and shouldn't be fasting. And if you want to find success and break free of those emotional dips and spirals, then you want to fast during certain times. So I highly recommend fasting like a girl. I'll put a link in the description so you can read that for yourself. And then finally, stabilize your blood sugar. I know if you hear that, you're like, oh, well, that's only for diabetics. No, like, you should always be stabilizing your blood sugar. We should always be finding a way for our blood sugar to go up and then just kind of like ride that wave. If we experience a tall peak, we want to taper it off and gently come back down. If we dip straight down, that can be really dangerous for not just our mind and our emotions, but for our body. A couple of ways to stabilize your blood sugar: you can eat more fiber. That's really good. It's squash season, so lean into the more squashes, the more fibrous parts of a vegetable. Move your body after you're done eating. Maybe take a 10-15 minute walk, but be very intentional that after you eat, hey, maybe I should just, like, I don't know, move a bit. What happens is, like, we eat and then we sit and then we just, our body has this energy but it has nowhere to go. But if you go for a 10-15 minute walk, that will stabilize your blood sugar, and it's free. So maybe it's donuts, maybe it's demons, maybe it's Halloween candy. Could be both. But part of this holistic journey of being emotionally healthy is being willing to examine the areas that we are struggling in, so that way we can fix that and get back onto this journey of emotional health, so we're not beating ourselves up for being a bad Christian when really we just ate like 5 donuts and we have nowhere to put that energy. I don't want this holiday season to come and then you be scared about all these different spiritual entities and sugar and everything like that. No, I want you to enjoy your time. I want you to enjoy your life. I'm just telling you, don't be caught by surprise. Don't be freaked out when you realize, oh, yeah, maybe I am struggling because I didn't get a walk in this morning. I didn't get my morning sunshine. I didn't read my Bible, and I haven't pooped in 3 days. God has given you the ability to make wise decisions, to walk through a time when it's going to be joyful, it's going to be exciting, but also let's make wise choices. Let's make wise decisions. Let's honor God in the way that He designed us. If you like this video, give this video a thumbs up. Be sure to be subscribed and ring that notification bell so you don't miss a single episode. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think. Do you think it's more demons or donuts in your life? What is it that you're struggling with more? And I will catch you in the next episode.